Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's house. Today we are doing a Happy Days extravaganza. Yes, so we got a whole bunch of Happy Days albums that we're spotting here. I got a Donnie Most album. I got a Fonzie album. I got, what's that Brady Bunch Christmas album doing in there? Gina. And I got Suzi Quatro, Leather Tuscadero albums. Yeah. It's going to be an awesome show. You remember the show, right? Yeah. Happy Days, everybody remembers that show? All our favorites. It's the 70s, the Fonz. What could be better than the Fonz? All right, so what do you want to talk about? We're back together. These are my favorite shows when we have Gina and Bello here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been so long I forgot his name. But it was harder. It was easier to get Donnie Most and Suzi Quatro on the show than it was to get these two. We've been trying to get this set up for a month and a half.
Popular. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, so it was very exciting. This worked out good that we're doing Happy Days. I actually just interviewed Donnie Most on the phone last week, and a couple weeks before I interviewed Suzi Quatro. We went to New York City. It was my daughter's Sweet 16.
Yeah,
we went to St. Patrick's for church on Sunday, and I saw Donald Trump there.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just walking around the city.
No, we saw him in the church, and he grabbed me by the organ.
You got me again.
Cha-Cha even tried to ruin it, but I didn't allow it. Yeah. I was getting that joke in no matter what.
I hate that joke. It's so funny.
It's so funny. You get it? Because church, they have an organ in the church. It's a double entendre. Almost a triple entendre, really.
Oh, that's good.
And then plus it worked out really good, though, with Trump because he's known for grabbing things, right? So it worked out perfectly. What do you mean, really?
What is he?
Where were you during the election? Remember there was
I was not paying attention to the election.
He almost got thrown out of the election for saying he wants to grab things. That grabbing.
Oh my God.
So anyway, all right. So so I talked to Donnie Most. I talked to Suzi Quatro. Last week we covered the Brian Setzer Holiday Extravaganza, which was a great show. But I got gypped. I had my red velvet smoking jacket on. But, they set it up. They gave me press pass and tickets and all that. But they wouldn't do an interview, and they wouldn't let me meet him because he's a big shot, right? Yeah. So I thought to myself, I'll go through the back door.
Still with the jacket on?
At the Count Basie this was?
Well, not.
I had to rephrase.
Let me rephrase.
Yeah, really, you're scaring me.
I walked in backwards, and I said goodbye. And then I walked into the dressing room, and they thought I was leaving. So I got it right in. But no, that didn't really happen. What I meant when I said, I'll go through the back door is I know someone who is friends with the background singer in Brian Setzer's band. He's got this giant band, 20-piece band, 2 girl singers, right? Yeah. So I said, all right. So he gave me her number. I texted her, and she said, oh, yeah, sure, I'll set it up. I'll come get you by the stage door after the show. So I was all set. This is going to be awesome. We're going to meet Brian Setzer. Cha-Cha was doing a half in 3 hours. Yeah. So after the show, great show. I was right in the front row taking awesome pictures. I got to say, I'm like the best photographer I know now.
You do have to.
You have to see what the way I use the lighting in some of these pictures. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, but it looks really great. Good. Yeah, nice. That just sometimes when I'm taking pictures in the light, it looks like I'm actually professional. Yeah. Right. So some people are born into greatness, others have greatness thrust upon them. So I don't know. But anyway, so after the show, we're waiting at the stage door, and they're getting ready to throw us out because the girl's taking a long time. Finally, she comes out, and then, she's making small talk, and we're there for a few minutes.
Get to it.
It got a little awkward, and finally I says to her, can we go meet Brian now?
He did. And what did she say?
And she's like, no.
He's gone.
He's long gone. I'm like, what? You said. And she says, no, that this whole thing. There's 4 buses, and he's got his own bus. As soon as the show's over, he walks out the door onto his bus, and bam, he's gone. Then the crew gets in their bus, and then the equipment's in another bus, and so.
But he gets off the stage, gets right on his private.
That's what I want to do. That's when you know you're a rock star. Yeah. When you don't even have to carry your own jacket or guitars or nothing.
Just go.
And that's so. I guess he's
so good.
Yeah,
he's great. I've seen him. I've seen the show.
Yeah, the Christmas show. I see that every single year. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I didn't go this year.
Cha-Cha got a little aggravated though because I sat in the front row.
He left me.
They gave us.
Did you?
They gave us tickets back further, right?
Oh, and then, you should have called me. I was right there.
All right, hold on. Let me explain
I
this
thought he
now.
was coming back.
So this is what happens. This is what happens. The first 3 songs.
Oh, Dennis.
I better drink my coffee. Take a break.
Yeah, you better think of something quick.
Yeah, big.
All right. So this is what happens. When you get a press pass, you get take the first 3 songs of the band, and you're allowed the side of the stage, and just go wherever you want. But there was 2 seats right in the front row, dead center, that were open. So I came and I sat there right in there, and I started
Not
taking
1,
pictures.
2.
And then it's just the sound is enveloping me, and it sounds so
And
good.
you're like, Carol,
and
you
like,
know?
and no, I was.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. And then
Yeah.
nobody dragged me out of there, and nobody came. So I said, all right, I'll stay a little longer until somebody shows up. Nobody showed up. And I know her, she would never have moved up in a million years. That once
don't
we were
even.
at, all right, I'm going to give you an example. Once we were at the Lakewood Blue Claws minor league game. It was the last game of the season.
You're going off track.
You gotta let me talk. I am the host. That was the Lakewood Blue Claws, a minor league game, New Jersey. It's the last game of the season. They're losing 17-0. We're the only 3 people in it. And I said, all right, let's move up a couple
He's
rows to
lying.
that seat there.
He's lying.
And she goes, no, I would rather go to prison than to move up.
I never said
So
that.
that is your
No.
greated fear in life,
I
is to
didn't
be
say that.
thrown
To
out.
Be caught.
I said
Are
I'd
you-
rather die in the heat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we were in the blazing sun. So I said, let's move up 2 rows into the shade, and maybe we can get away with it. She's like, no, I'd rather die right here than to move up. So can you imagine her moving up 20 rows in a packed concert to sit in the front row? So I texted and I said, are you okay? And she's like, what are you bothering me for? I'm trying to watch the concert.
I did not say that. I said, yeah, why?
Who is this? So anyway, it was a great, great show, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Very nice.
And then
From the
that
front
was
row.
it. Yes, I got to say, you haven't lived till you see Brian Sandler in the front row.
Oh,
close.
that's cool.
Up close and personal.
Yeah, so that was that. So, hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house. Now we're going to find out what Steve and Bello and Gina have been up to. And Gina was just saying on the break that she went to a couple concerts. So tell us about these concerts you went to.
Well, love the Count Basie. I'm always there. Davey Cassidy, my idol. He was there. Great song selection, great set list. Some oldies, a lot of Partridge stuff. But he's weakening. The voice is getting a little shaky there.
That's very sad to hear. I don't
Yeah,
agree
it
with
was
that,
pretty
though.
sad to hear.
I
Some
loved
of the
it.
tunes. Maybe it was just an off night. He was a little upset with the audience.
Oh, was that you shining the light in his eye?
Yeah. It's like, Dave, it's me. don't. No,
Why
but
was
he
he upset?
did, because when people are taking, he's like, listen, I understand it's your right. You can take pictures, video, I don't mind, but please get the light away from me. I've had 6 operations
Oh,
on my
yeah.
eyes.
Damn.
But he stopped the song.
Poor kid.
Wow.
Stopped the song.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God, he didn't just do that.
So yeah, I think
But-
he was agitated at that concert because they had weird opening acts. Didn't they have like heavy metal bands and stuff opening up for him? It was
Oh, and the
very-
Asbury
About
group, the
that,
10
though.
Yeah.
piece Asbury dudes, I can't remember their name.
Yeah, I remember their names. Those are the guys who had, about this. They were supposed to come on the show, and they had a recording studio emergency.
The emergency, yes.
Yeah, right.
Several emergencies so it led to the. I think you.
Yeah, I mean, interesting band, horns, the whole
you finally
thing, but
snapped
it really
that, though.
wasn't an open act.
Yeah,
act
no,
for him.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They tried to do something cool and say, oh, look, we're going to have these guys,
Different
young,
genre,
different things.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't work. It's nonsense.
No,
So don't
no.
do that.
But, he was good. He was okay. I've seen him
Right.
better.
I
listen,
thoroughly
we're human.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
At the State Theater when I saw him.
Right, you went
Yes,
to that
yes.
show.
Oh, we were at the early show, so
Yeah, so
maybe
nobody
he
was. It was still light out, so
yeah.
nobody was shining lights in his eyes.
He
maybe.
wasn't tired.
Wasn't tired, yeah.
That's it. 3:00. You got to see these people now.
Right.
They go,
High tea.
For that
They go
4 o'clock
right from there,
senior
the early
dinner,
bird
right?
special, and it's done.
I love those kind of gigs, man.
And how come he doesn't play in those Partridge Family places, like a dinner theater? Remember Partridge Family always playing there?
Totally.
I would like to see him in a
Right?
dinner theater.
Remember the years back in Atlantic City City where they always had that? Like they had tables like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And you would see, I remember seeing Liberace.
Oh, that's a funny story.
One of my idols.
I saw Liberace too.
Yeah.
And I was
with the
10.
Dancing Waters.
And I was forced to go against my will by my parents. And I said, all right, if you're going to drag me to go, then I'm bringing my Mad magazine, which I just happen to have right here. So I had my Mad magazine and a flashlight, and we were like right up in the front row. And like, you're not sitting there reading a Mad magazine while Liberace's playing.
Oh, wow.
So they wouldn't let me. So I had to watch it. And I actually enjoyed it. I have to say. He was very into that.
That's how it all started, Dennis. That's how it all began.
That's when I bought my red smoking jacket at that show.
Almost
Ah,
childhood.
Now he's going in the back
10-year-old go see
door.
Liberace.
So what have you been up to, Stephen? We haven't seen you. Last
Yeah.
time we seen you was summer out still, right?
Oh my goodness! Last time was the Brady Bunch show.
Yeah, see, we
Yeah.
got a
So-
theme going here.
Yeah,
A lot of
both
things
there.
have changed in my life since then. However, very nice. I can't complain. I'm very happy. I'm trying to think. You guys get to go to concerts. The highlight of the last 2 months, I watched Field of Dreams with my wife.
Ew.
And
mean,
first
that's
of
a
all,
good
you
movie.
cannot
That's
watch
Kevin
that
Costner.
movie if your father has passed away. It was the saddest thing I
really?
ever. It was insane.
Oh, I guess I
my
never
God.
saw that movie then.
It was a great
I just
movie.
like, yeah, I
But
heard it was
Who's
good.
in
You
that?
can't.
Kevin Costner.
Kevin
about
Costner.
baseball.
So
Great
good.
movie. One of my
We got to watch
favorites.
that.
All right.
Put that on there.
But my
good one.
father died, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't
Pretty
know.
much everybody's has.
Yeah, but
We're old.
Yeah, eventually they all do.
I'm an
Yeah, so-
orphan.
Yes. But
Raised by wolves.
yeah, I miss you guys. And,
Yes, yes.
We're
So,
going on a lot of dates. It's like we're childhood sweethearts again. It's very
oh,
nice.
that's very good. Very
Yeah, that's
good, good,
good.
good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's get right into Happy Days. Everybody's favorite show, or one of theirs, from the 70s, and it was on from 74 to 84 on ABC Tuesday nights 8
Yes.
p.m.
Yes.
Great show.
That was-
And now the pilot, I'm sure you know all about this. The
Yeah.
pilot was filmed in the early 70s, and it didn't really go anywhere. And they ended up showing it. I saw an interview with Gary Marshall, the creator,
Oh,
and he
he's the
said,
best.
you know, they weren't interested in it. So, but they didn't want to waste anything back then. So they showed it on an episode of Love American Style, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was called Love and the Happy Days, and this little thing, but it still didn't go anywhere after that. But then American Graffiti came out. Remember that movie?
Yes.
It was George Lucas.
Yes, yeah,
And
Ron Howard.
George Lucas came to Gary Marshall and said, "Hey, Ron Howard can do 50s, right? Do you have film of him doing that?" And he said, "Yeah, we shot a pilot." So Lucas checked it out and said, "Oh, this is great." So he put them in that movie, American Graffiti, and then Grease was popular at this time too. So then ABC
It was a
said,
whole
"Oh,
resurgence of
let's
the 50s,
yeah,
man.
let's do the 50s." So it
Yeah.
came on, and
Very cool.
it was a great show about the Cunninghams from what city? Yes, very good. Can everybody name the characters? You know I always do this, so I hope you're testing here. All right, so we're going to do it. Shout it out. Richie Cunningham.
Ron Howard.
Very good. Joni Cunningham, a.k.a. Shortcake.
Erin Moran.
Very good.
Nice.
She's good. Howard Cunningham, Mr. C.
Tom
Tom,
Boston.
Tom
Very
Tom
good.
Boston.
Marion Cunningham.
Marion Ross.
Very good. Potsy Weber.
Ansel Williams.
Anson Williams. Yes. What'd you call him? Ansel?
Anson?
Anson Williams.
Anson.
It's our accent.
Yeah, right. Ralph
My
Malph.
Anson.
Donnie Most,
Donnie
we just
Most.
discussed. And the Fonz, of course.
Henry Winkler.
Arthur Fonzarelli. Now let's talk a little about Henry Winkler, the greatest actor of all time, I have to say. Because,
Agreed.
you know,
That is
Yeah.
true.
because I'm going to tell
Very
you
good.
why. Because
Right.
every other actor, say, what's his name? The guy that I love, Robert De Niro. He's a
Right.
great actor, but he mainly plays characters that are like himself, you know?
Correct.
And
Right.
most actors play
Stereotype.
people that are
Right.
similar to their own person. So that's not acting. That's, you know, easy. I can do that. But
Yeah, of
the
course.
first time,
all.
do you remember the first time you saw Henry Winkler come out on a talk show not as the Fonz?
Yes, I cried.
Right. No, that's not the
You have this guy
not him.
here,
Yes.
the coolest
Are you
guy
kidding
ever.
me? Yeah.
Put that down there.
And-
The coolest guy ever,
and
the Fonz.
adorable.
Right, and he comes out
know.
like this little nebbish guy,
Yeah,
and
total
his
nebbish.
voice is completely different. Everything about him is completely
And
different.
he's Jewish.
Can't say Jewish on the air.
But he played.
Just kidding.
I think I was crying when I saw.
So
I'm not like
that's
that.
what I'm
This
saying.
can't be.
That he's the exact
Totally out of
opposite.
character.
He's a Jewish guy,
Yeah.
and he's playing an Italian hood.
Right.
Right.
You know, and it's just everything
he just
was about. It was
transformed
great.
himself. He was great.
He was
And
great.
that
Yeah.
this show went to and did you know that in the beginning when the show came on that he wasn't wearing his leather jacket, he had
That's
some
right,
windbreaker on
windbreaker.
because
Yes.
they
Remember
said
it was like a gray.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Powder
totally
blue,
remember.
right?
the
Was it powder
the
blue?
network said that
believe
it's
it's
too
gray.
scary. All right, tell me when you guys finish your show and then I'll continue this one.
I think
It's like a khaki color.
They're gonna do the fashion segment now. So the network was scared. They said you're gonna scare Middle America. We can't have a leather jacket on TV. So can you imagine what the times were in the
Yeah.
70s? How the world was actually worse than it is right now.
Yes.
So I don't know, but
Doesn't even make
people were
sense.
uptight, right? Yeah. So eventually Gary Marshall said, all right, he'll wear his leather jacket only when he's riding the motorcycle. And then, he slowly got, and then he
Transformed
wore it
into
all the
it.
time. And of course, it was just a great character. And you know what I heard? I heard that one time he did one of the episodes where he talked about going to the library and that reading is cool and all this. And that the people going to the library after that, the kids getting library cards, it shot up like 5,000%.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
this show
ridiculous.
changed the
Very
world.
cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And
We need him back.
Exactly.
Yes.
Which Fonz for
agree.
president. Funny
Yeah.
we say that.
Yes,
That I
Don't
saw.
you dare.
I saw a picture.
I would have voted for him.
I have a picture of
too.
Cha Cha when she was 8 years old with a T-shirt on that says "Fonz for
And
president,"
my new hair.
Awesome.
And you knew him.
and I
That's
can't
great.
find that picture anymore. I don't know what happened to it, but it was a great
That's
picture.
cool.
Yeah.
It
was,
didn't say Fonz.
It so did. How
It was like one of those iron-on shirts,
Right.
and it
Yeah.
had the picture of Fonz, and he was like,
Fonz for president. Well, I'll get the proof someday.
No.
But then, and you know that now his jacket is in the Smithsonian Institute, the Smithsonian Museum.
"Do it again."
Is it
No,
really?
it's hard to say.
So-
In the Smithsonian, right next to Archie Bunker's chair. There's like two of the,
Wow.
and my red velvet
Icons.
smoking jacket.
Wow,
which,
That's
in there,
where it
too.
went.
That's awesome.
Got it.
that's why I don't wear it anymore. So let's talk about these other characters though, because they had so many other fringe characters as well. The guy I mentioned before, Chuck Cunningham. That
Well,
he was
was he
the old,
fringe?
he was the older
older
brother for
sibling.
one
Yeah.
sibling. I mean, for one season.
Right.
Somebody else talk. I'm getting tired. Tell us about Chuck. Gina.
We don't know much about him. He was up in his room all the time.
He was
Right.
away at college.
He always-
came home,
he always had a
old
basketball.
friend.
Right. He was
Yeah.
always playing basketball.
yeah, it was basketball.
Right. And
That's
then
all I knew.
So
Yeah.
and then he was gone the next season. What about Chachi, of course, who's in the
Yes.
news a lot? That was Fonzie's cousin, and then played by Scott Baio, and then Arnold, the original Arnold. Do you remember who played the original Arnold?
Yes. Wax on, wax off.
He was-
Yes.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
Japanese
Miyagi.
guy,
Miyagi.
Pat Morita.
Pat Morita.
And then
Al Molinaro.
yes, Al Marinero came in to play Al, who replaced him. What was his catchphrase? No, it was, yep.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
Something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to the catchphrases. They had 100 catchphrases,
Yeah.
And of course, what was Joni's friend's name?
Jenny Pickles.
Very good. Nobody knows who played Jenny
Very
Piccolo.
good.
So
I do.
Thank you.
Who?
Oh,
that's
You know, you're never going to believe
Hey.
that.
hold this.
What was the
He
guy's-
knows who played Jenny Piccolo.
You
I think
know Silvers, the comedian?
Phil Silvers.
His daughter in real life.
Really?
Swear to God.
Really?
He was like 80 when he had this daughter.
No.
And that's her.
What was her name? Stephanie Silvers.
I don't remember.
saw it on
but
the
I-
credits?
But I know that,
Wow.
that Jenny Piccolo, later on, she was in those 80s episodes.
Yeah.
When it got.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
was
She was over
when
there.
it became
Yeah, that was Phil
So we're
Silver's
going to
daughter.
talk about that
Looked
when
like
he
his
jumped the
granddaughter.
shark and stuff, But there was so many great episodes that we can't even name our favorite, but
Wow.
we're going to. And of course, the spin-offs. What
Right.
Yes,
spin-offs they had?
yeah.
Laverne and
Oh,
Shirley.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Joni loves Chachi.
Yeah, that was a terrible show. I have to admit that. Really
I
bad.
know.
Did you really actually watch it? I couldn't even remember
don't know.
one
I
episode.
don't
That was big in
remember,
Japan.
to be
Yeah.
But this is true.
Yeah.
Chachi means penis in Japanese.
No.
Yes, I swear to God.
Oh my
and that
God.
was
I love it.
And that was a big deal.
Joni
And
loves Chachi.
Joni loves
That's
Chachi. Yeah. That you can look that up. That's true. I swear to God. Isn't that great?
We got it.
Japanese
Yeah.
people loved it, so you embraced
Yeah,
it.
he's definitely in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I
think
saw
we went to,
I saw that movie actually.
Wow.
What
I
movie
loved
was
him.
it?
He was gorgeous.
That there was a
Still
porn
is.
movie
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
in Japan called Johnny Loves Chachi.
Joni loves Chachi.
Yeah, it was starring I forget who. So yeah, and of course I think these two is what we're gonna have to pick from. These are really the best episodes ever, and we're gonna have to decide which ones we liked.
Okay.
Are we team leather or are we team Pinky? That's it, because those were the best episodes. Of course, you had Pinky Tuscadero, who was Arthur Fonzarelli's girlfriend, and there was a 3-part episode with the Malachi brothers
and the Malachi
and the Malachi Crunch.
The Crash Up Derby, whatever. That was a great
one of the best episodes, all 3 of them. And remember, we had that dilemma. You had to wait an actual week to see the next one, and then if your mother made you go shopping with her,
that's what happened.
Every
So we
Friday
went shopping.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
but this was
Friday
on
nights and
Tuesdays.
Tuesday nights.
Wow, your mother really tortured you. She said, "All right, what shows?
Terrible.
That Fonz is a bad influence. We're gonna take her shopping that night."
It's worse than forcing you to go to a Liberace concert.
I don't want to go.
Yeah, my parents were brutal to me too.
that was
they
me.
made me go to see a play, Oklahoma, one time with Joe Namath in it.
Oh, nice.
Joe
Yeah,
Namath
very
is in
nice.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Jones Beach Theater.
Oh, no.
I swear.
You thought you said one.
Life
Oh, my
after
goodness.
football.
Yeah, well,
And
I remember that when
I
he was doing
think
that play.
Florence Henderson was opposite him. I really think it might be
I
true.
think it
We're
might
gonna have to
have
look
been
at
Oh, we're
that.
gonna have to look that
Or
one
maybe
up.
Shirley Jones.
it was
Yeah,
Mrs. Parcher.
She might have been in the
Probably
original.
wow,
I don't
you
know.
are on.
Actually, it was
Yeah,
the
Shirley
woman.
was in the original.
No, it was
Oklahoma.
the woman
Yes,
who
that's
played Hazel was in this episode.
Shirley
She was
Booth.
awesome.
Wow, you're
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yes, yeah.
amazing.
All right,
She was the best.
And so then of course you had the leather episodes. Suzi
Right.
Quatro, who was a big rock star at this time, came on the show. It was monumental, and
Yes.
I discussed that with Suzi Quatro too. I'm like a
Nice,
Happy
nice.
Days guru here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
when we smell these albums, then we're gonna have to discuss whether we like this one or that one better. So, and of course. There was so many episodes, and of course, it jumped the shark. It coined the phrase "jump the shark."
Right.
There was a whole
Because it was
website about this.
literally-
It was literally Fonzie on skis, the water skis, jumping over a shark.
With his leather jacket on. That was the ridiculous. So silly. Come on.
They started out cooler a couple seasons before. Fonzie jumped over like some barrels
Yeah,
or
that was a
something,
great-
garbage
that was a
cans
great-
at Arnold's, and that was a great
Yeah,
episode.
that was
And
a
then they
two-parter.
said,
That was a
let's
two-parter.
jump over a shark. And where were they? California, Hawaii, or
yeah, yeah.
something? How ridiculous!
Yeah, yeah.
Who came up with that idea? That man should be
I know.
imprisoned for that. So
was
anyway, yeah. So then after that, the show did go downhill, and I kind of stopped watching it later on. And then everybody left, and
Yes,
Richie left,
Richie
and
left.
Fonz was like a school teacher,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
Joni and
terrible.
Chachi are singing, and
And then when Richie left, really that was the end of that
yeah,
show.
and then the curse of all
Okay.
curses. You know what happened? Ted McGinley joined the cast.
Yes.
Oh my God.
The kiss of death.
I didn't think of that. He wrecks everything.
He's
that guy.
ruined every show that
Yeah.
he's ever been
I
on.
didn't think of
So
that.
yeah. So what are you gonna do? And of course, let's talk
That's
about.
so harsh.
Let's talk about the catchphrases before we go here.
Okay.
They had 100 of them. That I even heard that Gary Marshall was saying that they just said, "All right, let's come up with a new catchphrase each week or a new
okay.
thing," and that they had "sit" on it, of
Yes,
course.
yes.
Nerd. You never heard
Yes.
the word nerd before
Right.
then.
Right.
Bucko.
Yeah.
I love that when
Yes,
Richie would call
yeah, Richie.
Bucko.
Bucko.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
good.
you had Al doing yep. And then Chachi had one that was called Wow Wow Wow.
Oh yeah. How stupid was that? That was ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's what I heard Gary Marshall saying. Later episodes, they had Chachi tie a bandana around his leg, and they thought that would catch on,
Right.
but nobody did it.
It didn't work
They
for
abandoned
poor
it.
Chachi. Yeah.
They said, not every episode works, But did you know? I was watching something recently, and I saw that later episode, Chachi actually burned down Arnold's. Yeah, that I don't know what happened, but that was-
He was
Yeah.
in charge of locking up or something like that.
no,
I
it's just
yeah,
he
yeah.
got involved in crack, and then.
It was an accident. They purposely put it down.
Yeah. So that was it. It went on way too long. I don't even know. I guess in 1984 it ended, and that was it.
That was 10 years that show was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were bad till
long.
the end.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's long for a
I can't
sitcom.
stop saying that now.
Fonzie got into a fight with Tom Hanks, and I'm not even kidding. This is true. Tom Hanks was a karate expert, and he kicked Fonzie through a window. This is
Wow.
like 1980. It was so stupid. Fonzie goes flying to a window, right? And they're like, "Oh my god, he beat the Fonzie." Then Fonzie, he was wearing a suit when he got knocked through the window.
Right,
He comes back through the front door wearing his leather jacket, and then they're like, "I swear to God, that's true." And it was Tom Hanks. Yeah,
All right,
they really
so
went
let me talk
nuts.
about all these albums that I have here. Now, I have this Fonzie Favorites album from 1976. This one's awesome, and it has the Happy Days theme and a bunch of like 50 songs. You know,
They
it's
had the best music.
Rock Around
on
the
show.
Clock.
I guess that's what that
but
is.
hold on. There's the Fonzarelli Slide is on here, and the
Do the
Fonz
Fonz.
song. Yeah, do the Fonzie. And this
Come on,
like,
do the Fonzie with me. I forgot about that.
Fonzarelli's.
and then I have this Donnie Most album from 1976, still sealed in the original package, so we can't even smell that one. Don't even look at it. Actually, it's too valuable for anyone to
Yeah,
look
that
at.
thing's awesome.
And then like I said, I don't know why someone snuck this Brady Bunch one in there. But then, of course, I have two Suzi Quatro, great Suzi Quatro. We're gonna do a whole show with her. Like I said, I interviewed her, and this is a promo copy,
Yeah,
not for sale.
Whoa.
Don't
Wow,
even look at
that's
that one
big.
either.
Does she know you
So-
got that?
No, I could be arrested just for showing that. So let's smell this one and see how it is. I can't even decide whether I like leather episodes or the pinky ones better.
Well,
I'm
I have a
gonna.
theory. Okay.
All right. You tell me.
That's so
I'm gonna
good.
say my
That's
favorite
really good.
song
Oh.
is "Do the Fonzie."
Oh, I forgot about that.
I don't even know.
Honestly,
silly.
antique-ish.
I don't know what we're gonna name here about what's our favorite what. How about we do our favorite catchphrase?
Smells like Fonzie's
Mine.
office. Remember that? Fonzie's
Yeah.
office was the
What?
best.
All right, here's a trivia question. Let's see. Yeah, up your nose with a rubber hose. That was a different show. With Sweat Hogs.
Same channel, though. Same channel, around the
It
same
came on
time.
E30,
That's
right?
the next
Yeah, yeah.
special.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we should do next.
Oh, man, we
Welcome
should.
back, Carter. Next
Oh,
month.
I love John Travolta.
All
All right, next.
Who didn't?
We'll be back.
Yeah, so here's a good trivia question. What was the name of the garage that Fonz worked at?
Oh,
Oh.
that is a good one.
In the something Broncos or something was his
Damn,
name.
I don't know.
That was it. I'm telling you, Broncos.
Broncos?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're telling
Yeah,
me.
Broncos
yeah.
garage.
Because I
Really?
sensed nobody was going to get it,
No.
so I gave an
No,
answer.
no, you stumped
So,
us.
You made something up.
all right,
Yeah.
here's another trivia question. All right, he had a cousin. They were very advanced as well. We're going to get into that. Remember, Fonzie had another little cousin who only lasted in the beginning.
He was the best. I know what
Spike,
you're talking
cousin
about.
Spike.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drone?
No. He had.
Was
he
he
was a
after
little
Joni?
greaser. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
liked.
Was he after
Yes,
Johnny?
yeah.
Yeah.
He was a tiny little kid, and he was a greaser.
why.
And he looked like a little Fonzie. He had the leather
Yes,
jacket and
yes.
everything. He was only on. But
with you.
the guy
One of
that
those
you're
shoes.
talking about was Sticks. It was
Yes.
a black
That
guy,
was-
and
that
that's
was
what
one of
I'm
my
saying.
favorites.
That they were advanced. That there was like racism, and they
Yes.
battled
Yeah.
against it. There was one
Right.
episode when Mr. C's army buddy came, who was black, and wanted to get married there, and the
Yes.
town was picketing.
Yes, that's right.
And
That's right.
they stood their ground because they were advanced.
They had pitchforks.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because they were about love.
Yes, it was a great, great show, and I miss it very much. They don't have shows like that anymore.
No
There'll
way.
never be another show like that.
Nope.
No,
So-
Gary Marshall was awesome.
Me too.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
he
that's
did.
what we'll do our tribute now. Gary Marshall passed away, and
Yeah.
of course,
Yes.
Florence Henderson passed away
Yeah,
from the
that
Brady
was
Bunch. That's
shocking,
probably why I
though.
had that.
That
Yeah,
was
right.
shocking.
She was always in good health,
she
and
was
she was.
82,
She
right?
seemed
Yeah,
like
she
such a
looked
nice
real
woman,
good
didn't
for
she?
it.
Like in real
Yes.
life, you know,
Yeah.
she wasn't a jerk or nothing.
Yes.
No.
You never heard
Yeah.
anything about
Never heard a
her.
bad word about her.
No.
It's
Nope.
true.
How
The kids are pretty shaken up, they said. There was a couple
Yeah, I would
interviews this
imagine, you
week.
know. Yeah, that was like
Brady
their real
kids.
parents, you
Yeah.
know.
They still went to her for a lot.
Wow, yeah, I guess so.
So yeah, it's very sad. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us here on Live from Dennis's house. Check me out on social media, 474 The Mix, where the music matters. Check me out everywhere. Watch me on TV, radio, blah, 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 blah. So now we're going to close the show with the Fonz song by the Hayettes, and then we're going to do Blueberry Hill by Fats Domino and the Artist of the Month. Let's hear it for Happy Days.